Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks.
Now, lots of children are heading back to school today, and if you're one of them, why not ask your teacher about the 500 words competition?
Because from today, schools will be able to access a lot more information about how the contest is going to work, how to enter. I've been to a primary school in Doncaster to see some primary pupils there who are getting ready, sharpening their pencils, sharpening their skills and getting in preparation. Why do you enjoy writing?
I just like the freedom of it and how you can write about anything you want.
Reeking stench. Goodness me, I feel you on fire.
I like scary stories too.
Scary?
Yeah.
Why do you like doing scary stories?
I don't know, I just like sort of tension in them.
Suddenly, towering above me was an absolutely humongous man, about 30 times bigger than me. It held a massive club in its hand and did not look at all friendly.
That's brilliant. You're already in print.
I think there's a monster under my bed. Its eyes are as black as pencil lead. I think there's a monster in my room. Its ears are like a giant mushroom.
If we can really engage the children and motivate them and they've got that sense of reason behind their writing, then that's how we promote that enjoyment.
Needing to be approached with caution, the yellow-spotted lizard is the most dangerous animal in North American history.
Mutton today, mutton yesterday, we have mutton every day.
As she peered through the window, she looked at the physical features of the doll.
They're ready. Are you ready? 500 words is coming very soon. We're joined now by Francesca Simon, 500 words judge. Good morning.
Good morning.
And author, of course, of the Horrid Henry books, and Jonathan Douglas, who's the chief executive of the National Literacy Trust. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in. Jonathan, you've got some really interesting figures out this morning about children not enjoying writing as much as maybe they should.
Yeah. So we interviewed 71,000 children and young people about whether they wrote for pleasure in their own time. Only 1/3 of those children actually spent time writing for pleasure. And that's significantly down on the first time we asked those children those questions, which was in 2010. And actually the drop's been of 26%.
So when you hear that, Francesca, as a writer...
Oh, it makes me sad because I think writing for pleasure is very much tied into reading for pleasure. So they go together. So getting kids reading also gets kids writing. And they also need to be encouraged to write. You know, adults don't tend to sit around and write a story.
Yeah.
So why do you think there's been this dramatic change then? What's changed since 2010?
Well, what's interesting about the figures is that actually the age of the children is really important. So when children start primary school, 3/4 of them are spending time writing for pleasure. By the time they're 16, it's only 1/4, which suggests that actually it's being squeezed out of their childhoods. So both the busyness of childhood these days, all those fantastic things you get to do as you get older, but also perhaps also school itself is squeezing that enjoyment of writing out of young people, and we need to reassert it. We need to nurture and encourage it.
It's really interesting you mentioned that, because the school we just showed there in Doncaster are doing brilliant things to use like graphic novels and that kind of thing to try to make it more fun. And yet what struck me talking to the kids is that they have a... No, we were saying this morning, a much more sort of technical approach to writing than maybe we did when we were at school. They're talking about the very precise formats and this kind of thing. Maybe that's not as much fun as it used to be.
I mean, I've received a number of letters from kids praising my use of full stops and capital letters. I'm serious.
No.
And I think, oh, I absolutely have. And I think, oh, gosh, something has gone really awry here. And I think if people are teaching to tests and they think that's important, that's what they've decided is important about my work is, you know, my full stops. And it really is not about that.
OK, for children who are going to write in their own time, for their own fun, how is that good for them? What does it give them? How does it enrich their lives?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a key literacy skill. It's going to support them in the long term in terms of getting jobs, all those kind of things. And that's why, actually, you know, however dull, the spelling and grammar stuff is important as well. But at the same time, if they're spending time writing in their own time, actually it benefits their well-being, their emotional and mental health, and that is amazing. So actually it's balancing those two things, the creativity and the skills, that we've got to get right.
Francesca, you're coming on board 500 words as one of our judges, which is very, very exciting. And the whole point of 500 words is, I mean, punctuation and spelling matters a bit, but it's really about ideas, isn't it?
No,
it's about
teachers
story.
tearing their hair out right now.
Of course it matters, but this isn't the time that it matters.
Yes.
So what do you want to see in those entries?
Well, I've been a judge now for 8 years, and it's one of the highlights of my year. We love getting the stories, and what I want to see are stories that make me laugh, that move me, that surprise me. I want to be taken somewhere that I've not been taken, so I want children to write stories that mean something to them. It's their story. It's their own individual event, their own, you know, they can follow their own ideas. It's got to be 500 words. But, you know, surprise us, shock us. My fellow judges are mainly, we all write funny books, so funny stories always welcome. This is not a time that you have to, you don't need to be worthy. We're not teachers, we're not grading you. Write something that means something to you.
We've got a bit of an exclusive because Francesca has brought in not her latest book, but her this is fantastic. Private Property, it says on the front cover.
25 cents.
25 cents.
Where was that book from? Where were you living when that...
I was living in California.
Wow.
And this is when I was 10 years old, writing in red ink. And the other terrible thing about this story is I'm always telling children, finish what you start. Finish what you start. Have a great ending. Not only do I not have a great ending, I break off mid-sentence.
But you see, I am all for that, because who is it? Is it Frank Cottrell Boyce?
Yes.
Fantastic children's author who says, begin. There is magic in beginning. Just begin something.
Well, you begin and
it's the hardest thing.
No, but you begin and then you ask yourself questions. That's how I write. You know, you get a beginning and then you think, okay, what does my character want? What's stopping them getting what they want? How could I be surprised? I mean, one of my favorite 500-word stories was about a mother desperately trying to rescue her babies from a tsunami, and they turned out to be nits, and the tsunami was the knit shampoo. It was hilarious. We all fell about laughing, but that's what I mean.
Genius.
It's a great idea, because we're thinking, oh, my God, this is such a shocking story, and then we were all laughing. I love stories like that, so surprise us. A surprise ending is always great.
I have to say some excellent use of full stops in here.
Yes, but boy, there are a lot of, you know, there's a lot of, I'm a good speller, but I wasn't particularly at 10, but I just don't want kids to focus on that.
I've just got to show people this. This is absolutely fantastic. No. Look what you've written here. So this is 1965, so you were how old then?
1.
But look what you've written. Francesca Simon, author. There you go.
Oh, wow.
You actually wrote that, look.
Gosh. Yeah, I didn't add that last night, I guess.
But was that always your dream, even at this age? You were sort of thinking then about
a little bit,
writing?
yes.
Yeah.
But I've always loved writing. You know, my dad is a writer, so it was something that was kind of natural to me. But yeah, I was writing fairy tales, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was good at writing. That was the tricky thing. But I did love writing stories. So, you know, I'm so thrilled that 500 Words encourages children out there to get writing.
And also to be perhaps a little bit more free than they are at school.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's I say getting that balance right is really important. We know that children's imaginations need to be set light. We know that actually their well-being will be supported by writing creatively and in their own time. It's a wonderful, unfettered experience of writing for pleasure.
Unfettered experience of writing for pleasure, which also leads to reading for pleasure, which is so important.
OK, but realistically, if mums and dads say at the table tonight, OK, guys, phones down, telly off, let's write a story, it's not going to go down well, is it?
I think it will go down great. Are you kidding? Let's talk about ideas. Because one of the fun things you can do is like make a list of all the things that you like, and then see if you can combine them in a weird or different way. Like if you like dinosaurs and sports, well, what about a dinosaur sports day? That's already a much more fun story. So come up with lots of random ideas and then try to combine them.
Yeah, I mean, there are practical things that parents can do. Creating a story-rich environment, as Francesca says, reading for pleasure leads to writing for pleasure. Making sure children have got the bits and pieces for writing, stationery pens that are fun and, if you can, great. But also publication is so important, and kids can't always be published, but they can have their story written, stuck on the fridge, or read aloud, or sent to...
Or preserved.
Or preserved. Or preserved in a literary archive, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting that the kids there in Doncaster who were reading aloud, they'd had a local competition, and some of them had been published in a book, and they were so proud to read it and show it, to see their names and their ages. Yeah, and their stories.
Recognition of children's writing, and that's why 500 Words is amazing. A national celebration of children's writing is so powerful.
Great. Well, look, thank you both very much indeed for coming in. There's lots more 500 Words to come, and thanks for bringing that in, Francesca. That's great. I love the illustrations as well.
Well,
And for more information on this year's 500 Words competition, you can visit bbc.co.uk/teach.
And you don't have to enter yet. The entries don't open till the autumn, so you've got the summer holidays to get those ideas inside your head.
It is 7:58 exactly. Time to get the news, the travel and the weather where you are this morning.